Okay, guys. Well, I got another loaner car. So they're still working on that rear hatch. It sounds like they finally had the right solution, I hope. I mean, at least what the guy's saying made sense, and it's ready to go pick up. So I have to take this car back. So I basically got this overnight. So this is a 2018 Model 3. Now, should you get a Model Y, Model 3? It all depends what you prefer. I got the Model Y because it's an SUV and it does have a little bit more space, and it does have I could get the hitch for it, which I did order. The Model 3, you can't order a hitch for it, although aftermarket you can find one that'll fit. And so Model 3, I tend to think of Model 3 in terms of the Model 3 performance, which this is not as far as I know. This is a long range. But this is no slouch on the road. And so it reminds me a lot of, so I've had two, is that fair? I've had two sports cars, basically. Okay. The Pontiac Firebird was not a sports car. It was just a sporty car. So I really like that Firebird. And the other car I've had is a Porsche 911. Now, it was just a Carrera, so it was just a base one. But, I mean, you couldn't help but love driving that car fast. And this car is a lot like that Porsche 911, except it's a family sedan. So you have the best of both worlds. So anyway, here we go. Like I said, this is a 2018. So I'm guessing this was a loaner. Oh, I hadn't noticed that dent there. But anyway, it looks really nice. I like the wheel. I mean, the wheels, I love the wheels. Now, if I had one of these, I'd probably still upgrade the wheels. But anyway, I love how low this guy is. So that part's nice. If you take a close look in there, the interior is white. It's interesting. So it's 2018, so it's 4 years old, more or less anyway. And I'd say the leather looks pretty decent. I mean, I'm kind of guessing it was a lease car, but whatever. And of course, this one's an older model, so it has the silver or chrome door handles as opposed to the black. But whatever. That's still pretty nice. Okay, interesting. This is a Texas car. It only has rear plates. So I did run it through the car wash last night, but obviously this car needs a lot more cleaning before it comes clean. Okay. Anyway, there it is. This part looks nice. So I have all six, well, no, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cameras. So it has all that base stuff. Interesting, it's can do karaoke, but I think maybe I'm connected to my home Wi-Fi, but I'm enjoying it. I'm kind of surprised. I thought karaoke would require premium. But anyway, it also has enhanced autopilot, which means it can do some of the basic auto FSD things like parking, which I haven't played with, and I have to take it back today, so I won't have a chance to really play with that. But anyway. Okay, so I'm not mentioning this car being sort of like a sports car. And so the reason I feel this way about it is you might notice how low this seat is. Now, compared to where I have my Model Y, yeah, this is a lot lower. But anyway, there it is. Let me get into it. This will take a little bit of effort because it is really low. Okay, well, welcome to the inside of this Model 3. So I'm sitting in a relatively low position. I don't know if you can make it out, but so there's only a little bit of window space to see out in the rearview mirror, and that's because I am sitting so low. If I was sitting higher, I'd have more view. And so for those of you who might get a Model 3, you don't have to be sitting in this position. The seat will go up much higher. It's just I prefer the low, sporty feeling. Like my mother's TR3, which was made by Triumph a long time ago. Anyway, it felt like you're sitting almost on the ground. In the same way in the Porsche 911, it feels like you're almost sitting on the ground. And that's what you want if you're driving a sporty car. But if you're familiar with the Model Y, you'll notice that I got the left-hand stock. I got the right-hand stock. They're the same. I got the scroll bar, the scroll wheels, and the buttons. They're the same thing. And I got the center display. And that is also the same. So, from the perspective of, should I get a Model 3, Model Y, the inside of this car doesn't make a difference. Now, this is a 2018, it's not a 2022. My Model Y is a 2022. But because of the OTAs, the software in this car is almost exactly the same as the software in my Model Y. Now, this car does not have the same computer that my car has. And it stands to reason because my car has an updated computer. And if you wait a couple of years, you'll get an updated computer. I mean, there's even a rumor that the 2023 Model Y will have, or Model 3 anyway, will have a much updated hardware system. But that's neither here nor there. What you care about is, can I get into it and feel comfortable right away? And the answer is, if you're used to a Model Y, the Model 3 is going to be feeling the same way. Other than you get to sit lower. Okay. So I'm not going to take you all for a drive. If you've driven a Model Y, you've driven a Model 3 from that perspective. So let's go with that. And let me surprise you with the back. Okay, so there is a price to the way I like to sit in my car. Now, I'm usually the only one person in the car, so it's not a big deal. But occasionally I do have friends come along with me. And so this part is kind of a problem. Now, if you have short legs, it won't be. But if I were to try to sit in here, I couldn't really fit well. So that's the one price. It's not really fault of the car. I mean, if you look on the other side, there's a reasonable amount of space in there. That looks similar to my Model Y. On this side, this is a lot closer. It's just the way it is. Now, if I had to move my seat up and forward, I could do that for the sake of my passengers. But I think this white interior actually looks pretty nice. And I'm surprised to not see stuff all over it. I mean, it wasn't cleaned. I picked a Tesla, didn't wash it, didn't vacuum it. I think they really use it as their shop car. It's listed as a loaner car. And of course, it's a USB-A in it. Anyway, this one USB-A connector is broken off. But we're not talking about whether or not you would buy this particular car. Okay, so here's the front. It's not quite as deep. I don't think it is quite as deep as the Model Y, which I think makes sense actually because this car is not sitting quite as high. So maybe there's not as much space. But it's decent. I mean, everything I have in my Model Y front right now, which is mostly all the stuff I carry with me on a trip in case I have some kind of emergency, I think all that would probably fit in here. So it's not horribly small. It's just not quite as big. Okay, so here's the trunk. What I find amazing is this trunk is actually pretty big. It's okay, maybe it's not real wide, but it's pretty big. In fact, other than you have the rear deck coming from the car, because this is just a trunk. I mean, that kind of limits how tall it gets, but you could actually fit a lot of different things into here. This is pretty good. there is a little space in here, which is cool. There's not an equivalent here. And you also get this underfloor space, which is about equal, maybe a little bit bigger, but about the same as the Model Y. Okay, so here we have the back seats folded down. You can see that I have a big pass-through area. Now, could I fit a 70-inch TV in here? It'd probably be very tight, but almost anything else, yeah, I could do. In a pinch, this car will be an SUV. You just don't have lift gate. You just have a trunk lid or trunk hatch. So I did open this up and I did lay down. So laying crossways, yes, I do fit. And basically that's what I do in the Model Y is I don't lie straight. So I'm 5'11", just over 5'11". So you know, if you're over 5'10", it's going to be tight. But otherwise, laying down here will be just fine. Okay, so here's the final comparison to the Model Y. If you've seen my Model Y video of this, actually that was a Model S that showed this, but I've also done this in the Model Y where I've laid a mattress in. So this is a twin size mattress, standard size. It fits fine. I would tend to think that little crossover there would kind of limit your room for your hips, but your hips aren't this far down, so it should be okay. I mean, you're just a little bit cramped, but you could put a mattress in here, you could sleep in here, and you'd be just fine. Now, this is a 2018 model. I don't know what the 2023 has. I imagine it's very similar. But there you go. Okay. So, your question might be, because I did get the recommendation on Model S, what would you say about this Model 3, right? So I would say for this particular car, I would be wary of buying this one. I have a feeling it was a lease car and it may have been well used, so to speak. And they also included enhanced autopilot, which, you know, I don't want to pay the extra money for enhanced autopilot. But that all aside, this car has excellent performance. I mean, you step on the gas, the accelerator, you will accelerate. I'm kind of confused as to whether this is it says here it's a long-range dual motor. When I looked up the VIN, it seemed to indicate that maybe they thought it was a performance, but whatever. It is what it is. Okay, it's 2018. It has 36,000 miles on it. That sounds like relatively decent miles for a 4-year-old car. So this car does have some dings, some body damage. It's minor damage, but there is some damage there. And I did note that the one USB connector is torn out, so that would be a problem. But otherwise, I mean, with a little cleaning and a little love, I think this would be a great car. So if you happen to find this one at a good price, it certainly would be worth buying. Now, if I found another 2018, 2019 that was similar, I mean, I might be more interested in that than this particular one. I mean, it is blue, and if you know me, you know I like blue. And given a choice between a Model 3 and a Model Y, with no other concerns other than what I want and how I drive a car, I think this would be the car. The Model 3, the Model Y is just a little too big, and you know, I don't really need all that big all the time. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I got a Model Y, and it's going to be a while before I pay that off. So, should you buy it? Think about it. Oh, I didn't mention, and I don't know if you can see it in this video, but along the edges here, the video screen, the screen seems to be kind of faded, I guess. So that part seems to have had a hard life. And it does indeed make me wonder about my Model Y. But that's life. We'll take it one step at a time. But other than that, this car is perfectly adequate. If you don't need the SUV and you don't need the hitch, I would think about getting a Model 3. It is cheaper. And the rumor on the street is that Tesla will be doing some kind of upgrade to the Model 3 this coming year, 2023. So it might be worth looking that way. But just like with my review of the Model S, if you're a person that can't stand having to bend down and contort yourself to get into the driver's seat, this may not be a car for you. Can you adjust driver's seat? Yes, you can. But I do know that I can tell you now that it is a little bit difficult getting in. Once you get in, oh, what a great place to sit. I mean, I love this. I'm sorry, I'm adjusting the seat as I go. So this is, the one thing I didn't cover, right? So the one thing I haven't covered is trips. Okay, so let's see. Trip B is obviously not lifetime. So when I buy a Tesla, I label Trip B as lifetime, and I don't reset that. So in its lifetime, or in the last 9,858 miles, it's averaged 296 watt hours per mile. Now, in my driving, since the last charge, it's averaged 260 watt hours per mile. Now, comparing that to the Model Y, I mean, you can make an argument of 5-10 watt hours per mile difference, maybe. I mean, the Model Y uses just a little bit more, but I wouldn't be making a fair comparison. So, since I've had the car, yes, I have accelerated hard, and yeah, it'll go. So performance, yes, baby. That's give me that all the time. And as I told one guy who was asking me questions about Tesla, I said, you bring almost any car down to a 0 to 60 drag race, and the Tesla will win. Now, it won't win all the time, yes, because there are some cars that are actually real performance as opposed to just good performance, as opposed to actual go performance. So if I were to line up my old Pontiac Firebird against this car, you wouldn't even see the Pontiac Firebird starting before this car finished. Now, maybe that's not fair, but it's just not in the same race. I would think even my old 911, I mean, with a good start, then maybe they'd be touched neck and neck for a while. I think this car, at least in Performance Edition, has an edge. Okay, anyway, I'm getting off track. Sorry, that's one of the things that excites me about driving a Tesla is the performance, the acceleration, but also the mileage. So getting all those things in one package is great. But whether you get a 3 or a Y, what's the difference? Now, okay, so I was giving you my recommendation. If you found this car at a really good price, I would say buy it. But I would make sure I was comfortable with it. Be comfortable getting into it, and be comfortable with the suspension noise. I think this car's been sitting for a while before I drove it, so whatever. It is what it is. It is a 4-year-old car. It does have 36,000 miles on it. But there you go. Definitely. If you're buying brand new and you think you want to go cheaper, go Model 3. I don't think you'll be sorry you did. If you desperately have to have a hitch, You can buy an aftermarket hitch and pop it on. Since I don't have any experience in it, I don't know how much trouble it would be to put on the light connector. I saw a video of a guy who did that, and he didn't seem to have any problems. But he also sounded like there was a thing that he thought was being normal stuff to do. So, there you go. I hope you enjoyed this. I know it's going to run just a little bit long, but I can't tell you how I'm really, really glad that I got a chance to drive this car. And if I had a chance to buy this as my second Tesla, this would be it. If I was going to buy a brand new, of course, I'd get the performance. But that's just me. But anyway, it's a perfectly good car. Okay, ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.